Hey guys, this is Danny and welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'll be showing you guys 10 different kinds of traps inside of Hive Skywars. I'm not going to do like 10 total traps even though it's called 10 traps, it's just 10 different kind of traps, and this is going to be like a how to trap video. Nothing too crazy, you know, nothing like super specific, but just going to be going over 10 different kinds of traps that you guys can do and a bit of information on them. So hopefully this video does help out, and let's head into trap number 1. So the first trap of the video that I'll be going over today is the block trap, which is one of the easiest and most important traps on the Hive. All of the trappers will do this. It's great for a bunch of reasons. It's great to kill people that have better armor than you, and you know, let's say you have chain armor, someone has diamond, and you know that you won't be able to kill them in a fight. You can try and block trap them. It will really help you in that sense. You know, if they know you're going to kill them on a 1v1. But if you try and block trap them, that may save your life and extend your game. There's a lot of ways to do block traps. The most common one would be over a bridge. So you'll see that a lot where people will make bridges and they'll put a hole in the bridge and they'll try to place blocks there. I will have examples on the screen of all these. Another great place to do it is around a corner. So let's say this corner would actually work perfect for it, where you can place a block right here where they're trying to jump across, and you'd run around the corner, you'd place a block here, and then they just fall right into the void following you. You can also disguise your traps. A great way to do that is disguising it behind leaves or in a rock or just behind blocks. They're another great thing to do. But block traps are something that are really important to get good at for all trappers, because there are times you have to place blocks quickly when trapping or run through things. That's a common theme that you'll see, is you have to act fast and lure people a lot. So tip number 1 for block trapping has to be for the trapping in general, has to be block trapping. Definitely something to work on, and one of the most important traps, and that is why it is number 1. The second trap or trap tip or trap idea or whatever you want to call it that I have for today has to do with breakable blocks. They're insta-break blocks. There are 3 different kinds of insta-break blocks on the Hive. There are also blocks that break quickly, such as sandstone or red sandstone, or you know, there's a bunch of blocks that you'll know, or hardened concrete, not hardened concrete, hardened clay. Those are a bunch of things, but the ones that I want to go over for today are the mushroom blocks, which you can insta-break with an axe, or the slime blocks, which you can insta-break with your fist. These are great blocks that you can find. Galactic is one of the maps that you can find them on. Also, the new map Ruby is another map that has slime blocks on them. But what they're good at is for either spleefing someone, which you will see clips of in this. Spleefing is something that is really easy. It's also a good thing to have if you're doing it in duos with a teammate. Have a teammate hidden underneath, and you can have them spleef them after you run across, or you can spleef them yourself. You know, you can either do it or work solo or with a friend. But insta break blocks really help out. Just they won't always work, because sometimes people will catch on to them. For a bunch of new players, they work really well, and they're also really fun to watch people die instantly. The third thing for today's video has to do with snow traps, and I assume most of you guys do know about snow traps, but if you don't, how snow traps works is if you break the blocks underneath the snow, you will be able to fall through the snow. And let me give you a quick example here. The only map that has it now is currently Meadow, but because unfortunately they did take all the winter maps away with all the snow traps, but this will come back a great time around winter. So how that works is, if let's say there's snow here and you walk across, you will fall straight through, and it was super great for disguising things on that map, but it also works in locations on this map. You can hide it in corners. The snow maps, when they come back, it works insane for them. You know, you can just hide the snow and they'll have no idea. But you know, it works great for locations where people may not know. Again, it will work on advanced players, will know about it, but for beginners, this trap will work, or this will work really well. So the fourth trap that is a really good one is, I'm not going to actually go into a game for this one because I'll have to try and get one, is a knockback Nemo. And knockback Nemos work so great if you use them right for trapping. Like, for example, this is one you've probably seen commonly from Evident, is if you have a knockback Nemo and you hide in a hole, you can jump out of the hole and you can just send someone flying. It also works great when people are charging you, if you make secret holes by leaves, or just make secret holes in general, just hide them somewhere or put them in corners, or you can even hide under a chest or do all that stuff. And knockback Nemos are just so overpowered if you use them the right way. And you know, you can just hide and then just absolutely destroy people with them. They'll have no idea. They're really funny as well. So using knockback Nemos for trapping is really good, and hopefully the clips are able to demonstrate some of the ways that they do help, and hopefully, you know, you can use some of the clips for ideas for yourself, or, you know, invent your own traps, or just use the ones from this one. You know, they're really cool. So the fifth trap of the day has to do with doors and trapdoors, and the best map for this is Armada, where they have plenty of doors on here. You can basically, how they work is if you run past them, you can run past it and flap the door open and people will hit into it and fall down. There's plenty of things you can do on here. You can make, you know, ejector seat type traps with the trapdoors where you just fall through them. You can even make the good old door bridge. That's a funny one. You know, I do have a clip of that. So you can do a bunch of things. You can make people walk through doors. The biggest thing would be to set it up so where you flap a door and they'd fall into the hole. But there are things you can do with those. They work really well, and most of the time people don't even see them coming. So you can put it on a bridge, and that would be kind of sus. But you can make it, you know, you guys can hide them and make them kind of secret, and you know, flap the doors open. They'll hit into the door and they'll be down into the void. So they do work really well for trapping. So the sixth trap, which is right after doors and trapdoors, and it's very fitting because it is also flappable, is trapdoors. And a great map to find trapdoors is actually Harvest, because it also has honey blocks, which is an instant break block, and it's also sticky, so you can do some kind of fun stuff with that where people will try to jump up and do stuff like that. So you guys have probably seen stuff like that from Evident or whatever. But trapdoors, not trapdoors, I'm stupid. Fence gates, they work really well because, you know, you can jump through them and flap them. It's something that you can kind of surprise people with, and you know, they work great for trapping as well because, you know, you can close. Basically, the thing about trapping is a lot of not experienced people will see you do something and they'll follow you. So if they see you successfully jump through a trapdoor and you close it on them, they're probably gonna fall in it. They're gonna probably follow you, and you can just close it and fall, and they'll fall right in. You know, that's the biggest thing that I've seen is if people see you do something, they see you survive and you're okay, they'll follow you. So that's the biggest thing. So that's why trapdoors and doors and fence gates work really well, because you can jump through them, and then people will be like, "Oh, he made it through," and then you'd close it on their face. So that's why they work pretty well. So the seventh trap of the day has to do with this thing right here, which is known as water. And the reason that water is good on the Hive in Skywars is because water on all of the maps is 1 block deep, and people don't actually realize that. If you see a pond, it will look like it's deeper than it is, but in reality it's only 1 block deep, which is really cool. So it works really well when falling from Hive places. You know, you'll see the clip of it as well. There's one map that has a well with water underneath where people, this is the first time I actually ever fell for a trap. I just jumped in there normally knowing I'd survive, and I just fell straight through the water. It was actually a really genius trap if you're not looking out for it and you're not careful. But you know, the cool thing about water is you can't always see to the bottom, unless you're like looking from above. But you know, you can't always see in, and you can just jump in, and you know, someone can punch you, and you can just fall through really easily. So water actually works out really well, but you just need to, you know, do it well. You can't just make like a puddle and be like, hey, you gotta jump in here. You have to, you know, yeah, it takes some effort to do it, but water does work well for that reason. And I think it is a pretty cool thing to trap people with, even though it is kind of difficult. Drowning people, don't even get me started on that, but you know, trapping people in water, pretty cool. The eighth trap of the day has to do with head hitters, and how head hitters work, as you will see in the clip, is where you have to jump through and hit your head and still land on the block. It works great underground, or not necessarily underground, but it works great across bridges, or basically again follows the principle of if they see you successfully do it, they're like, oh, I can do that too, and then they'll fail. There's a great way to do it. You can do it with slabs above the head where people will hit into them, or if they jump too early, or with stairs, that's a good way, or even a fence pole where you jump around the fence pole that's above your head and they just hit into it. You know, you guys have probably seen that again from Evident or stuff like that. So those are a great way to do it, but there are a lot of really good ones, and there's also a ton of ways you can do it. So where head hitters work really well and underground in places like this, and the reason it works so well is it looks like you can just run, and you can just run down there. So basically how this works is if you run and you do this and you jump, you'll be able to hit your head on here, and then you'll be able to survive that hole right there. So basically people will just follow you straight in. You'll run in, you must make sure to jump, land on the edge, and you'll be good. But people will not realize that you actually jumped. They'll just see that, and then they'll run up, and they'll think they'll do that, and they'll fall straight into the hole. So they work super well in places like this, and they also work well on bridges like the one I have the clip of. But something like this works super well because they'll literally see you run in there. They won't realize there's a hole down there. And yeah, this is a really underrated trap as well. This is something that works really well if someone's willing to follow you. So, you know, just make sure to jump and land on the edge of the block, and they will forget to jump and fall straight in the hole. So that's head hitters. So the ninth trap has to do with placing through blocks or placing on top of blocks. So the clip I have has to do with a flower pot on the bridge, because you see a flower pot, you think you can jump on it, but not everyone realizes you can place a block on it. It also works really well with things like pressure plates. We'll have a pressure plate on a bridge, and you can, let's just say this is a bridge here. You have a pressure plate on the bridge, and there's a hole down here. People don't even realize that there's a pressure plate, and you can place a block on it, and they'll just jump right into it. They work really well on bridges because they are kind of disguised if people don't see them. You can also place blocks through things such as sugarcane. So if you stand in the sugarcane and you place, it will place a block in front of it. I think that also work. Well, it does also work with things like iron bars as well, where you stand in like the block itself. You can place a block right through it, and people won't even realize because they don't even think you can do that. No one would think, like, unless you've actually done it before, no one would think you can stand in this and just place a block in front of you, but you actually can. So that works really cool as well. Those are some great things that you can do. So basically, placing on blocks or placing through blocks works really well for trapping as well, for surprise traps. And again, it has to do with like block trapping, so you know, block trapping's pretty good. That's why I have to get good at it. And the final trap of the day has to do with ladders, and ladders work well. They're kind of obvious, but they work well for things that are discreet, like the one that I show you the clip of. It works really well for. It also works really well if you have a friend that's hidden. A lot of these traps do work well if you have a friend that's hidden and they can break them for you. But how ladders work is, you know, you can climb up the ladder and you could have the friend break them, or you can do it yourself like in the clip, and then the person will just fall right down into the hole. It also works with torches, or you can insta break them, or even if someone wants to do something like this, where you literally place ladders like this and someone literally, you know, does it, and you know, you can walk across these, which is, you know, kind of funny. And people may even follow you if they see you walk across these. Some people may even follow you. It's kind of crazy to think that they do, and you can just break one and the ones in front of it will break. So one thing that's really good is carpet for it. If you put carpet on it, you put the ladders there, you put carpet on it. Some people may not realize you can run across that. You can break the one here, and then all the ladders will break, and I think the carpet breaks. Hold on. So after using my really large brain, you can't actually place carpets on it. I'm so sad. I thought you could, but you can't. But you can break them like that. So large brain is, you know, bad, but that's cool, I guess. So that is going to be all for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to smash like and subscribe. This video actually took me a lot of hours to get all of the traps and to go over the commentary and all that stuff, and the editing. I don't even want to. At the time I'm recording this, I haven't edited it, but you know, I don't even want to get into that. Putting all that together and finding music, it's going to be insane. So if you can like the video, I would appreciate it a ton. And also, if this video did help you out, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read all your comments, and I really hope this does teach you something new. But I feel like most of you guys, I don't know if it will. This is, I guess we'll see. Hopefully this does help you out, or hopefully, you know, you learned something, or, you know, got a little better at trapping if you're not super good at it. So yeah, here's your video of trapping. You know, it's cool. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, guys.